Welcome to Coffee Conversations. I am your host, Jen LeBlanc-Billhartz, and thank you so much for being here today. We have a special guest. Billy Croghan from St. Louis, Missouri is the frontman with Les Gruff and the Billy Goat, an Americana and country band, again from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm so excited to welcome Billy to our show today. We're going to chat about the name of his band, why he has that awesome name, what kind of music he enjoys, more about his band, an awesome project he's working on, and he's also going to share his special recipe for his pizza crust. So we're very excited for today's show. Welcome, and we hope you stick around. Welcome, Billy. How's it going?
Thank you. Going very well. How are you?
Doing good, thanks. So glad that you're here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so my first question is, can you tell us about the relevance of your name? The band name's pretty cool.
Sure. I guess I had been playing as a solo performer for like a couple of years before starting this project as the Billy Goat. And one day I was driving down the street listening to a blues show on the radio station, and they talked about some singer that was coming on that was going to be less gruff than the other singer. So I immediately thought, that's the coolest name I've ever heard. And so I went home and Googled it and found out that it wasn't already someone's name, and so I stole it.
Nice. Love it. So how long have you had your band?
I guess we recorded our first record in 2012 and released it in 2013.
Okay.
So our official anniversary is, I think, March 3rd or something. It might be like March 1st, 2013 was our first show, but it was very early March 2000.
Nice. So like 7 years?
Yeah, 7.5 or so.
Cool. Yeah, awesome. All right, super cool. And then you play guitar and you're also the lead singer. Is that my understanding? Or can you tell me more about what you do in the band?
Yeah, so my role primarily is singing, and I play guitar. I write the songs for the most part. Had a guy that I worked with for the majority of the history of this band who just left, and he was basically the other singer and songwriter in the group. So we would sort of split frontman duties a lot back, up through basically, the beginning of the pandemic. He quit the band, and so at this point it's just me singing, and I play a little bit of guitar, but I mean, honestly, like more and more, I've got really solid players in the group. I leave most of the music to them, and just try to sing as best as I can.
Nice. Awesome. And what kind of music is this?
Well, we call it country, and some people call it Americana, and so it falls in that roots Americana genre, I guess, is probably where it falls.
Nice. Love it. So is that your preferred style of music that you would listen to, or how did you get into that?
Yeah. I started listening to, I guess classic country when I was in my early 20s, and really kind of got into it then. And from there sort of splintered off and started listening to a lot of the Texas guys, who are, some of the best songwriters around, Guy Clark and people like that.
Nice.
And so I got really into that kind of stuff. And then more modern Texas, like the Austin scene, people that come through that, over the last 4 or 5 years, I've really started to enjoy. And at this point, I've met quite a few of them, just because of the types of stuff that we've been able to do with our group.
Yeah. Awesome. So this might be me being naive, but I wouldn't consider that style of music terribly popular in St. Louis. I know there's a few artists that do it, and they do well with it.
There's a small scene. It's really small.
So, like, where do you fit in with it? Like, what kind of venues are you playing in, and all that good stuff?
So there's a genre out of Texas and Oklahoma that's called red dirt, and it's more or less. I mean, it's one of the country sort of subheadings, I guess.
Okay.
So a band who recently broke up was like big time in the red dirt scene. When they started, it was the Turnpike Troubadours. Their fan base following, I guess, is like throughout like the Midwest and South, rural America. So those red dirt bands, a lot of times they hit St. Louis as one of their stops on the way up.
Okay.
That's where we got our feet wet, is playing opening for them at like off Broadway and places
Gotcha.
like that.
Okay. Cool.
And like early on, like when we very, very first started, there were even fewer country and Americana bands in town. Like I would say that you could probably count them on like one hand.
Right.
At this point, like there's a scene. It's not huge, but I mean, we're friends with all the people on it.
It's growing.
Yeah, it's growing.
Nice.
There's a lot of people sort of that all spend a lot of time together, drinking and partying and doing that
Sure.
kind of stuff, and starting all these bands. So there's there's a healthy little scene. It's not huge, but there's things like the River City Opry off Broadway,
Okay.
where like that's one of Brad Jackson's projects. He's the guy that fronts a band called The Fighting Side. It's a country band. He's got this deep baritone voice, and there's some stuff that happens and some stuff that's going on here. That's kind of why we go.
It's off Broadway, you think?
Yeah, I mean that's sort of the epicenter for what our scene is doing, I guess.
Okay.
But like you said, like it's not like a super popular genre in the city of St. Louis, especially.
Sure.
So we end up, we spend a lot of our time in rural Missouri, rural Illinois,
Okay.
going down through Texas, which, under like the circumstances of a normal summer, we would be on the road probably 2 or 3 weekends out of the month, on like 1 or 2 hour day trips sometimes, or whatever, just playing bars in small towns, more or less.
Nice. Well, I think that like the fact that this genre isn't heavily populated in St. Louis would give more demand to it and make you guys more popular, since there's fewer competition.
Yeah, you think.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think that's pretty neat, though. And I like all styles of music, so like once things open, and I've been to off Broadway, and I've definitely heard that kind of music, and I've also seen some artists at Focal Point doing similar things, and then various festivals, but of course all the festivals are canceled.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, St. Louis is a good place for a hodgepodge of music, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's
we have an embarrassment of good musicians. I mean, there's
nice.
a huge blues scene. There's a ton of great jazz.
Absolutely.
Webster U pumps out jazz players like it's a machine, and so like there's just tons of people out there that can play really, really well in town. And so our little country scene is definitely not the biggest one in town, but it's it's fun.
Oh, for sure. I think any like niche of music, like having that network is super cool. I follow around. I've got several friends that are in the jazz scene that are musicians, and usually that's kind of my go-to.
Yeah.
And it's just you get stuck in something essentially, and but yeah, I mean, I love seeing all sorts of stuff. I also like classic rock, and folk and Americana is good too. So
yeah. I've been brushing up on my my jazz appreciation lately. I have a
nice.
little 1.5-year-old daughter, and
awesome.
trying to listen to a bunch of Miles Davis with her, and get her excited about music, because
sure,
whatever.
No, that's awesome. I've got little ones too, and their early exposure is incredible, and just like I like to call it passive listening while they're playing, but they've got music in the background and they're absorbing it. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's got her favorite songs. Obviously, she listens to kids' songs and stuff like that as well.
Okay.
But usually, when I'm driving in the car or something with her in the mornings or the afternoons, I try to put on something a little more complex to.
Oh, sure. You don't want to listen to kids' songs all the time. Like no, especially not when you're driving.
Right. Yeah.
Totally get it. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So, as far as your training goes, are you self-taught or do you have formal training?
I learned, I guess I learned how to play guitar when I was like 11, maybe 12 from, a guy that lived up the street from me, whose name was Paul Piccioni. And he has this band, and I think they're still active in town, called the Zonkies.
Okay, that's
and they were just sort of like a classic rock cover band. And Paul's like a sick piano player, but he also knew how to play guitar. So I would carry my amplifier up to his house, and my guitar in the other hand, and like it was like a block and a half away, and that thing it was difficult being that young.
That's some dedication.
Like a 40-pound amplifier.
Oh my god,
it was really old. But so that's where I started, and then throughout high school I had like little pop punk bands. There was a big pop punk craze scene, I guess, at the time, and so like I was kind of into that, and then went to college, and I went to St. Louis U and studied classical guitar, not as my major, but just like as one of my pursuits.
Sure.
And so I did that for like a couple of years, and then more or less I quit music entirely. Like for I don't know, like 3-4 years maybe. It was probably like a year maybe a year or two after I was out of college when I like actually got serious about playing again.
Okay.
And so like that was, I guess that was 2008 when I graduated. So then I don't know, now I'm old.
Well, you look very young. It's maybe that mustache is hiding everything, but
yeah. I mean, my hair is definitely turning gray.
Okay.
That's for sure. But
gray hair is actually in. We have all these young kids like dyeing their hair gray. I'm like, what are you doing? But
there's gray hair dye.
Yes, no, you must have missed the whole wave of the popularity of it. So you fit, if your hair is, I can't tell your hair is gray, but if it is, you fit right in.
Yeah, I would have done that ages ago, though. It would have been great when I was younger.
It is super cool to do something different, right?
Yeah, I had a real baby face when I was in my 20s, and no mustache, anything like that. And I mean, there were times when I would get carded, and they just wouldn't believe me that it was me. So I didn't get into places.
An awesome mustache.
Yeah.
Good call.
That's right.
Awesome. All right. So you're working on a video project right now. Is that right?
Yes.
Your group. Can you tell us about that? I'm super excited about it.
They say that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so why'd fall all the way to China? A homeless girl living on the streets. Help me, my bottle's getting empty, feeling like I'm losing the game of life. I need some help with my self-regulation. Aberration, it's not working out. Not working out. Not working out. Not working out.
Yeah, we're I guess there's been a ton of different ways that people are handling, like, what do you do now that you can't perform live for real? I mean, you can go do like these social distance concerts and stuff like that, but I just, some part of me, it's like, sure, but like you kind of miss it. Like you can't dance, you can't, it's like the stuff that makes a concert cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, let's just forget about that for a while and let's try something different. So we decided that our thing was going to basically be like, we're going to repurpose some videos that we did in the past. We're getting them like done up by an engineer who came and did a recording at our release show. We're doing like a backyard video shoot at my house where it's just basically like, hey, the band getting together. We're playing this show in front of this. I have this cool, I would show it to you if the light was still out, but it's like a tilty garage. It's green and orange, like bright green and bright orange. And so, I just thought that might be a cool video backdrop. So we're kind of
very artsy.
Yeah. That's kind of the gist of it. So we just decided, like, let's do these live videos. And then we're basically releasing like a video every month. This month's video is in production. And we have a contest over at our website called the September Showdown to have people help us select which one we'll be releasing next. So there's actually 2 videos that we're working on, and people can vote at our website. It's called lesgruff.com/September-showdown.
And is that LESGRUF?
LESGRUFF.com.
Perfect. We'll get that added. Awesome. I like the name. September Showdown? Is that what it's called? Awesome.
Yeah. And so we put, we chopped up a couple of audio tracks that are just like super rough, basically board recordings for the time being, while our engineers do their magic and make it sound beautiful for us.
Nice.
And basically offer those up as like, hey, listen to these. Let us know which one you want to run with. And on September 30th, we're releasing the tracks, the video.
Well, cool. I don't know anyone else doing something like that. So kudos to you on having a creative idea that's original.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard. Like, to me, the most important thing about like recorded music or anything like is that it is done like it sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't, like, I've watched live streams. I've watched my friends do it, and like people that I don't feel like I'm stepping over anybody's toes if I say, like, by and large, it sounds like crap. Like, because there's just not the technology for the internet is not designed to live stream music across of it. It's just not, it's not for that. So that's why I would rather do this.
Yeah, you definitely lose some quality. But no, I think that's awesome. Like
Yeah.
So awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, what else can you share with us?
Oh, well, got a mean pizza recipe.
Did you come up with your own?
No. So a friend of mine brought some sourdough starter over for us at the beginning of the pandemic, and
okay.
Her name is Audrey. So we put our sourdough starter in a jar and we feed it, and we called it Audrey 2.
Ooh.
And so I make sourdough pizza crust now. It's just one of the things I do now.
And this is all from the starter that Audrey #1 brought over?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea how any of that works, but I know it like grows and is it
just
essentially reproduce, or is it?
Yeah. So the way that
yeast, so it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, yeast yeast is like some, I don't know, maybe it's a bacteria, I think.
We're getting into a science lesson here.
Yeah. It just eats the sugars in flour, and then it expands and contracts. That's like how bread expands, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like when you're making bread, you slow it down and you overfeed it, so then like it doesn't eat the flour too fast. But the sourdough starter is basically like it just eats all of the flour overnight, and then you feed it the next morning, and then same thing over and over again every.
Oh, gotcha. So you could essentially have like the same thing indefinitely until you
Yeah,
stop.
basically. Yeah, you just like throw half of it out and then pour some new flour and water in there, and it works again.
So then you kind of experimented with this recipe until you lacked something. Yeah. How did you find your recipe? And are you going to share the recipe, or just going to tease us with that you've?
I mean, it's not complex. It's just flour. It's flour, water, salt, and sourdough starter.
Okay, and is
the whole thing.
Do you feel like the crust kind of like makes the pizza, or do the ingredients on the toppings also add to that a lot?
I am not very good at topping pizzas.
Okay.
My pizzas always taste like sauce. Yeah. I mean, the sauce is important, but I don't understand. I don't know how many like toppings you're actually supposed to put on there to make it taste like a commercially cooked pizza. For me, I always put too few ingredients because I'm like, oh, that looks full. That looks good.
They shrink down when you cook it, though.
Yeah, I know. My crust is delicious, but my topping game really could use a serious. I need some instruction.
What are your go-to toppings?
Pepperoni, mushrooms, green peppers, onions, the basic stuff.
And do you make your own sauce as well, or is that store-bought?
Yeah, I usually just mash up some stewed tomatoes or whatever, and then throw a little. I have a little basil plant in my backyard. I cut some of that out there, throw it in there.
It's a lot of stuff. You really do it all.
Oh yeah.
I bet your daughter loves it. Little kids.
Yeah, she picks all of our tomatoes and eats tomatoes. She goes tomatoes, and she just picks them off the vine and starts eating them.
Eat it like an apple.
Yeah. We did a strawberry patch, and like strawberries are great because they just, you don't do anything. They just grow in the wild anyway. So it just like takes over this whole section of yard. And so the beginning, she goes out there and like picks all the strawberries and eats them before anybody else can get them. It's just
nice.
Kind of her thing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Fresh food's the best. Having a garden, there's nothing like it.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being here. I've loved having you, meeting you, and chatting about your music. I'm definitely going to have to check you guys out. I'm wondering if I've seen you perform. I don't know. You look so familiar, and it's possible. I get to a lot of shows, or I used to. But yeah, I do look forward to catching a show once that stuff opens up. Yeah. Probably next year, though, I'm assuming. Hopefully.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping for like next summer to like be like when we actually get to start playing for real again.
Do you do festivals ever?
We have never done any like big festivals. Most of the festivals that we do are like in just like middle of Missouri with like, and we're the headliner. It's like a tiny festival.
Local in St. Louis?
Okay. We did play when Lou Fest got canceled that year. Was that like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that. They threw like in Lou. They called it In Lou Fest at the Boathouse, and we played at the Boathouse that year.
Oh, nice. Cool.
That's the closest thing to a festival in town that we've ever played.
Well, you were close. A lot of people were close that year too.
That's right.
Nice. All right. So again, your website is lesgruff.com. It's lesgruff.com.
That's right.
And then Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, we're on all the socials. Facebook is /LesGruff and the Billy Goat. Instagram, I think, is the same /LesGruff and the Billy Goat. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's hard to remember. Yeah, if you search for Les Gruff, LESGRUFF, you won't find someone else. It will be us.
Cool. Awesome. Wonderful. All right. Well, thanks so much for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye, Billy.
Have a great one.
You too.
Bye.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today on Coffee Conversations. My name is Jen, and I am your host. And we just had Billy Croghan with Les Gruff and the Billy Goat, a St. Louis band, Americana country in St. Louis. So thank you so much for joining us. You can find us on our social media page, Facebook, Instagram, of course, our website, shockcityschool.com. Find the blog page. You can find, we've got word, audio, and video. So we're also on YouTube. Hope you'll check that out. And again, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you soon. A special thanks to our sponsor of today's show is Wineapallooza. You can join the Wineapallooza Wine and Music Festival this fall, October of 2020, as taking place in Nevada, Missouri. There will be several local artists, musicians, and of course some wine. Tickets are on sale. You can find their information at Wineapallooza. That's Wineapallooza. You can find them on Facebook and also online.